In the United States, Angela Cox,
Emma Dallimore,
Mike Amor.
Lovers, lies, and lawsuits. The untold stories of Trump's love life. Power, money, and the White House. Donald Trump has conquered it all. He's built towering skyscrapers that pierce Manhattan's skyline. He's won the highest office in America. He's amassed billions and become one of the most recognized faces on Earth. But behind the golden facade, behind the power and the presidency, there's something else. There are the women. Not just one or two, but dozens of them. Women who have come forward with stories of unwanted advances, of payoffs, of affairs. Among them, an adult film star named Stormy Daniels, whose allegations would eventually lead to something unprecedented in American history: the first criminal conviction of a former U.S. president. But to understand how we got here, to understand how a porn star's story could shake the foundations of American politics, we need to go back to where it all began, to understand the man at the center of it all and the women who shaped his journey to power. New York City, 1976. The glittering world of Manhattan's elite is about to witness the rise of its most controversial power couple. In a city filled with ambition and glamour, a young real estate developer with dreams of reshaping the skyline is about to meet the woman who would help build his empire, and later watch it crumble in one of the most spectacular divorces in American history. Donald Trump wasn't looking for love that night. He was at a high society restaurant with a group of friends when he spotted her, Ivana Zelničková, a striking 26-year-old model from Czechoslovakia. She caught his eye immediately. Tall, blonde, and carrying herself with the kind of confidence that came from years of competitive skiing and modeling in Montreal. Trump did something unusual for him. He helped her party get a table. It was a simple gesture that would change both their lives forever. He was immediately drawn to her ambition and work ethic, qualities that mirrored his own. Here was a woman who hadn't just relied on her looks. She had a master's degree in physical education, spoke multiple languages, and had the kind of drive that Trump recognized in himself. Within 9 months of their first meeting, they were walking down the aisle at Manhattan's Marble Collegiate Church. The wedding on April 7th, 1977, was everything you'd expect from a young Trump: lavish, glamorous, and carefully orchestrated for maximum publicity. The ceremony was officiated by the famous Norman Vincent Peale, author of The Power of Positive Thinking, a book that had deeply influenced Trump in his youth. Ivana wore a stunning white gown, and the couple looked like they had stepped out of a fairy tale. But this was no ordinary marriage. From the beginning, Ivana was more than just Trump's wife. She was his business partner. She threw herself into the family business with the same intensity she had once brought to competitive skiing. Within years, she was serving as vice president of interior design for the Trump Organization, leading the renovation of the iconic Plaza Hotel, and later becoming president of the Trump Castle Casino Resort. Their first child, Donald Jr., arrived just months after their wedding on December 31, 1977. Ivanka followed in 1981, and Eric completed the family in 1984. Ivana was determined that her children would be as accomplished as their parents. She taught them Czech, insisted on strict discipline, and made sure they understood the value of hard work despite their privileged upbringing. The 1980s were the golden years for the Trumps. They were New York's ultimate power couple, their names synonymous with wealth and success. They traveled in private jets, lived in a penthouse apartment dripping with gold and marble, and their faces regularly graced the society pages. Ivana became known for her elaborate hairstyles and her motto, "There's no problem a good hairdo can't solve." But beneath the glittering surface, trouble was brewing. Trump's increasingly high profile brought him into contact with more and more beautiful women, and he wasn't known for his fidelity. The marriage began to strain under the pressure of their public lives and Trump's wandering eye. Then, in 1989, entered Marla Maples, a 26-year-old aspiring actress from Georgia who would change everything. Now, we are in 1989, and Trump was walking down Madison Avenue when he spotted her. The way Maples tells it, he tried to give her his business card, but she refused. She didn't know who he was, she claimed, and wasn't interested in married men. But fate had other plans. They kept running into each other at various events, and eventually, a relationship began to develop. The affair might have remained secret if not for a fateful Christmas vacation in Aspen in 1989. In what would become tabloid legend, Ivana encountered Marla on the ski slopes. "I have a happy marriage," Ivana told her. "I'm warning you to stay away from my husband." The confrontation became public knowledge, and suddenly, the Trump marriage was front-page news. What followed was one of the messiest divorces in New York history. For 11 straight days, the city's tabloids ran front-page stories about the split. The New York Post's infamous headline, "Best Sex I've Ever Had," allegedly quoting Marla talking about Trump, became a part of tabloid history. Ivana's divorce settlement included $14 million, a 45-room Connecticut mansion, an apartment in Trump Plaza, and annual use of Mar-a-Lago for 1 month. The divorce was finalized in 1992, but the drama wasn't over. During the proceedings, Ivana had made serious allegations about Trump's behavior during their marriage, including a deeply troubling incident that she initially described as RP in a deposition, though she later clarified she hadn't meant it in a literal or criminal sense. The account would come back to haunt Trump years later during his political career. But anyway, by the early 90s, it was Marla Maples who held the throne alongside the newly divorced Donald Trump. Their relationship had already made headlines, but now they were free to go public. In October 1993, Maples gave birth to Trump's 4th child, Tiffany, named after the famous jewelry store. 2 months later, they married in a characteristically lavish ceremony at the Plaza Hotel, with a guest list of 1,000 people, including O.J. Simpson and Rosie O'Donnell. Happily ever after? Not even close. The marriage was troubled from the start. Maples, unlike Ivana, never found her place in Trump's business empire. She wanted to pursue her own career in entertainment, and that caused a lot of tension. She later revealed that she felt isolated in the marriage, often left alone while Trump pursued his business interests. The relationship began to crumble almost as soon as it began. In 1996, a bizarre incident added to their marital troubles. Trump's bodyguard was found with Maples under a lifeguard stand on a deserted beach at 4 a.m. Both Maples and Trump denied any impropriety, but Trump fired the bodyguard, and the incident became fodder for the tabloids. The marriage limped along for another year, before they separated in 1997, finally divorcing in 1999. The pattern was becoming clear. Trump's relationships seemed to follow a similar trajectory: intense attraction, lavish displays of affection, marriage, children, and then a gradual unraveling as his attention wandered and his wives struggled to maintain their independence within his orbit. But even as his second marriage was ending, Trump was already meeting the woman who would become his third wife. In September 1998, at a party at the Kit Kat Club in New York, Trump spotted a stunning 28-year-old Slovenian model named Melania Knaus. The only problem? He was there with another date. When he asked for her number, Melania turned the tables on him. Instead of giving him her number, she asked for his. She wanted all his numbers, business and private, to see if he would give her the direct line to reach him. It was a test, and Trump passed by giving her all his numbers. Little did either of them know that this encounter would lead to a relationship that would take them all the way to the White House. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. September 1998. The Kit Kat Club in Manhattan is pulsing with New York's elite. Donald Trump arrives with a date, Norwegian heiress Selina Middelfart. But his attention is immediately drawn to someone, this Slovenian model, standing across the room. Her name is Melania Knauss, and she's about to change the course of Trump's life, though neither of them knows it yet. When Trump approaches her, Melania isn't impressed by his celebrity, and she turns the situation around. "Give me your number," she says. "I'm not giving you mine." It's a power move that intrigues Trump. He doesn't just give her one number, he gives her all of them: office, home, private line. Their courtship is different from Trump's previous relationships. Melania maintains her independence, continuing her modeling career while living in her own apartment. She's not interested in rushing into marriage or even living together. This measured approach fascinates Trump, who's used to women eager to cement their relationship with him. The pattern continues even after they begin dating seriously. While she attends events with Trump, Melania keeps her own life and career. She appears on the covers of magazines, including a controversial shoot for British GQ where she poses nude on Trump's private jet. The shoot would later come back to haunt her during Trump's presidential campaign, but at the time, it's just another step in her successful modeling career. Their relationship deepens, and in 2004, Trump proposes at the Met Gala with a $1.5 million diamond ring. True to form, Melania insists on signing a prenuptial agreement without protest. They marry on January 22, 2005, at Mar-a-Lago, in a ceremony that captures worldwide attention. Melania's dress, a $200,000 Christian Dior creation, makes the cover of Vogue. The guest list includes Hillary and Bill Clinton, showing just how different the political landscape was then. On March 20th, 2006, their son Barron is born. But just 4 months after Barron's birth, an encounter occurs that will eventually shake the foundations of American politics. In July 2006, Trump attends a celebrity golf tournament at Lake Tahoe. There, he meets Stormy Daniels, an adult film actress whose real name is Stephanie Clifford. What happens next would remain secret for over a decade before exploding into one of the biggest political scandals in American history. According to Daniels' later testimony, she accepts an invitation to Trump's hotel suite, expecting to discuss a possible appearance on The Apprentice. Instead, what follows is a single sexual encounter that Daniels would later describe in excruciating detail. The encounter itself might have remained just another secret in Trump's past, but decisions made years later would transform it into something much more significant. But there's another story developing in parallel. In August 2006, Trump meets Playboy model Karen McDougal at a party at the Playboy Mansion. What follows, according to McDougal's later accounts, is a months-long affair that she would later describe as a loving relationship. Like the Daniels encounter, this too would remain hidden for years before emerging at a crucial moment. That brings us to 2016. Trump is running for president, and suddenly, these past indiscretions threaten to derail everything. In October, just weeks before the election, the whole thing explodes. October 7th, 2016. Just 1 month before the presidential election, The Washington Post releases a video captured in 2005 by an Access Hollywood crew, and it shows Trump and host Billy Bush arriving for a cameo appearance on Days of Our Lives. In it, Trump is bragging to Billy Bush about his attempts to seduce a married woman, later revealed to be TV host Nancy O'Dell. The fallout hits fast and hard. Republican leaders who were already iffy about Trump start pulling their endorsements left and right. House Speaker Paul Ryan cancels a campaign event with Trump. There are calls for him to step down as the Republican nominee. This video was like handing his critics a smoking gun about everything they've been saying about how he treats women. But this was just the beginning. Following this tape release, there's word that Stormy Daniels is considering going public with her story. This is when Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, arranges a $130,000 payment to Daniels in exchange for her silence. The payment, made through a shell company called Essential Consultants, LLC, is completed just days before the election. Similarly, American Media, Inc., publisher of the National Enquirer, pays Karen McDougal $150,000 for her story to bury it in what's known as a catch-and-kill operation. Now you're probably wondering, where was Melania while all this was going down? Well, she was there. Throughout all of this, Melania maintains a stoic public presence. When the Access Hollywood tape went public, she publicly accepts Trump's apology and dismisses it as boy talk. But behind the scenes, the strain shows. According to multiple accounts, she renegotiates her prenuptial agreement before moving to the White House, ensuring greater security for herself and Barron. The dam finally breaks in January 2018 when the Wall Street Journal reveals the payment to Stormy Daniels. The story explodes into public view, with Daniels giving a detailed interview to 60 Minutes about her encounter with Trump. The legal implications of the payment, made just before the election, begin to draw scrutiny from prosecutors. This scandal would eventually lead to Cohen's imprisonment and Trump's historic indictment in 2023. But even as these legal troubles unfold, another series of accusations begins to surface. Women start coming forward with stories spanning decades, each with their own account of inappropriate behavior, or worse, by Trump. The number grows: 5, 10, 15, eventually reaching 26 women with allegations ranging from unwanted kisses to sexual assault. It began with Jessica Leeds. Her story dated back to the 1970s, when she found herself seated next to Trump on a first-class flight to New York. According to Leeds, about 45 minutes after takeoff, Trump lifted the armrest and began to grope her. "He was like an octopus," she would later tell the New York Times. "His hands were everywhere." She fled to the back of the plane to escape the situation. Then came Jill Harth's story from the 1990s. A businesswoman working with Trump, she described being pushed against a wall at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's hand moving up her skirt. She had actually filed a lawsuit in 1997, but the story had remained largely unknown until now. The allegations kept coming. Kristen Anderson described an incident at a New York nightclub in the early 1990s, where Trump allegedly reached under her skirt without introduction or permission. Lisa Boyne recalled a dinner in 1996 where Trump allegedly made models walk on the table and looked up their skirts, commenting on their underwear and genitalia. But some of the most disturbing allegations came from the beauty pageant world. As you might know, from 1996 to 2015, Trump was the owner of the Miss Universe organization, which included Miss USA and Miss Teen USA pageants. Temple Taggart, Miss Utah, 1997, described unwanted kisses on the lips. Mariah Bellotto and Victoria Hughes, former Miss Teen USA contestants, reported Trump walking into their dressing room while they were changing. "Don't worry, ladies. I've seen it all before," he allegedly said to the teenagers. The stories continued through the 2000s. Natasha Stoynoff, a People magazine writer, described being pinned against a wall and forcibly kissed while on assignment at Mar-a-Lago in 2005. She was there to write about Trump's first anniversary with Melania, who was pregnant at the time. Each woman who came forward faced intense scrutiny and often hostile reactions. Meanwhile, Trump's response was consistent. Total denial, often accompanied by suggestions that the women weren't attractive enough for him to have pursued them. And somehow, that got him off the hook for many of the accusations. clearing the way for him to pursue his much-coveted second term as President of the United States. This was the story of the controversial love life of Donald J. Trump. Watch more videos from Famine Addicts here. Thanks for watching, Famine Addicts.